Cheers and welcome to Bitter Reality Brewing. Yes, these are temperature controllers. And yes, ever since I did the Blickman glycol chiller, you can go check out that video, I've been getting a little feedback on, hey, I don't understand why on the Anvil Brewing, you said you preferred the INKBIRD. And it's a Blickman system, and Blickman and Anvil being pretty much the same companies, just different types of products. I have a big reason. Now I'm gonna tell you, I wasn't fair to the Anvil Brewing and didn't give you some really great information about it because it's gonna be probably the better way to go for probably the majority of viewers. But there are a couple catches with the INKBIRD, and there's a couple reasons that I prefer the INKBIRD, okay? So we're gonna deep dive into that a little bit. We're not really going deep diving. We're just gonna go into the basics. Okay, first, we're gonna go over the Anvil Brewing, okay? Anvil Brewing can easily go from 16 degrees Fahrenheit all the way up to 220 degrees Fahrenheit, which I believe is about -9C to about 104C. So plenty of temperature range for fermentation. Plenty, even if you're boiling. I don't know what the amperage is on this, but here's the big thing with this, okay? Set, forget, super clean. You get your power cable, plugs in, and you got a temperature probe. There's no extra cables, there's no hassle, there's no mess. I will say the reason I like the INKBIRD, one of the reasons, is that I can do hot or cold without changing a plug or do anything. But I'm gonna tell you 99% of the time, you're probably gonna be doing primarily cold, sometimes heat. Very, very rare are you ever gonna do both back to back. And if you do, it's probably gonna be something like a cold crash. And if so, you just walk up and you set it, which I have to do on the INKBIRD. The INKBIRD's not automated. I can't set like 3 temperatures and days and times. It doesn't work like that, okay? So the Anvil Brewing is going to do the job for 99% of the time. And I believe the retail is under $30. So it's less expensive. And if you get the Blickman chiller, you got, what, 6 plugs? You just plug it in and all you have is a temperature probe. There's no other cords, cables, or anything. Super simple, super clean. As you can see, it's got indicators for hot or cold. You got your set, your temp, and hit set. That's it. Super, super simple, okay? No college degree required. Now, you come over to the INKBIRD. I left some information out and I do apologize. Well, one of the reasons I like the INKBIRD a little better is because I can do hot or cold. But what I didn't tell you is you can't do hot or cold as is. Why? Well, because most of your pumps for your glycol or ice chillers or whatever you're gonna do have these giant vampire taps. Yeah, they block one of the cords. So you can't plug 2 things in at the same time. So for an extra $9, I buy one of these, which I didn't mention. And to be fair, I should have mentioned that. So when I plug that in, now I can plug something else in over here as long as it doesn't have one of these vampire taps, which most of my heating pieces do not. So I can now separate them. Number 2, which I will agree I have a huge mess because of this. Every INKBIRD, okay? Well, first of all, I have this extra little cord, that's nothing, okay? I have my temp probe. I'm gonna have that on the Anvil. But I also have a 6-foot power cable. And if I'm running 4, 5, or 6 of these things, I've got a little bit of a mess with cables and I've got to play cleanup of the cables. So those are 2 drawbacks that I didn't mention, but the 2 benefits of why I like the INKBIRD better is because I can switch between hot and cold without being unplugging it. Yeah, I'm lazy, it is what it is. But to change the temperature, I still have to walk up and set the temps. I still have to control it. If it is Wi-Fi, I will be honest, over 50% of the time, I walk up and do it manually. I don't even go to my cell phone and use the Wi-Fi setting, which I do like. I usually look at the Wi-Fi setting more to just double check what is set to what temperature-wise, so I can double check them while I'm sitting on a computer and verifying that I put them correctly at the right temps for the yeast. That's really what I use the Wi-Fi for. I don't really use the Wi-Fi to control the INKBIRD. The INKBIRD does have a hook, but I mean, this doesn't need a hook. It's gonna be plugged right into the device, so you don't need anything to run the 6-foot cable from and hook it up. It's not a necessary function for the Anvil. So I just want to be very clear. This one runs for about $28, usually under 30. This one's usually about 35 to 50, 50 being on the Wi-Fi side, 35 being non-Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi side, I guess I should speak correctly. So yeah, big difference in price, or a little based on which one you're buying. and super, super, super clean. If you're, and I know some of you are very OCD on keeping things very organized and clean. I wish I was that OCD. I do some things, but not everything. So yeah, just want to make sure I'm clear on that. There are some big differences both in price, and keep in mind, when I do this, I have to buy another cord for another $9. So technically this is going to be about $43 to $58. So almost double the price, if not double the price of the Anvil. So something to be aware of. Appreciate you. Don't forget, like, subscribe. Hopefully that resolves some confusion and some issues that some people had. Cheers.